The studio lights of The View blaze down on the iconic round table, where the hosts Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, Sunny Hostin, and special guest Sharon Osbourne sit poised, their faces a mix of anticipation and curiosity. The audience buzzes with energy, sensing something explosive is about to unfold. Whoopi introduces the day's hot topic, Prince Harry's latest public statements about the royal family, his memoir, and his media ventures. "Folks, we've got a special guest today, Prince Harry himself, joining us to talk about his journey," Whoopi announces, her voice steady but with a hint of mischief. The crowd erupts in applause as Prince Harry walks onto the set, waving politely, his expression a careful blend of charm and caution. He takes his seat, dressed in a sharp blazer, but there's a tension in his posture, as if he knows he's stepping into a lion's den. Sharon Osbourne, known for her unfiltered candor, leans forward, her eyes locked on Harry like a hawk sizing up its prey. "Harry, love, I've got to be honest," Sharon begins, her British accent cutting through the air like a knife. "I've been watching you, and I'm not sure what you're playing at with all this royal family drama. You've got the world's attention, but are you here to heal or to hurt?" The audience gasps, sensing the gauntlet has been thrown. Harry shifts in his seat, offering a practiced smile. "Sharon, I'm here to share my truth, to help others understand my perspective," he replies, his voice calm but firm. Sharon smirks, unconvinced, and the other hosts exchange glances, knowing she's not one to back down. Joy Behar jumps in, trying to lighten the mood. "Well, Harry, you've certainly stirred the pot, but let's talk about your new projects." But Sharon interrupts, her voice rising. "No, Joy, let's not dodge the real issue here. Harry, you've aired your family's dirty laundry for the world to see. Your grandmother, your father, your brother. Don't you think it's a bit broken bar disloyal?" The word disloyal lands like a bombshell, and the audience murmurs, some clapping, others whispering in shock. Harry's jaw tightens, but he responds, "I've always said I love my family, but I needed to step back for my mental health and my wife's well-being." Sharon scoffs, rolling her eyes dramatically. "Mental health? Oh, please, Harry. You're living in a mansion in California, making millions from Netflix deals, while your family's back home dealing with the fallout of your tell-all. You don't get to play the victim card here." The crowd roars, some cheering Sharon's bluntness, others booing her harshness. Whoopi tries to steer the conversation, but Sharon's on a roll. "You've turned your back on duty, on tradition, on everything the monarchy stands for. And for what? To be a celebrity? To be Oprah's best mate?" Harry's face flushes, and he leans forward, his voice sharper now. "Sharon, with all due respect, you don't know what it's like to grow up in that institution, to be trapped by it." Sharon laughs, a sharp, cutting sound. "Trapped? You were born with a silver spoon, love. Most people would kill for that kind of a trap. Don't insult our intelligence." The audience is electric, hanging on every word, as the tension between Sharon and Harry crackles like a live wire. Sunny Hostin tries to interject, asking about Harry's charity work, but Sharon waves her off. "Charity's all well and good, but let's talk about the damage you've done. You've painted your brother as the villain, your father as cold, and now you're shocked they're not inviting you to tea at Buckingham Palace." Harry's eyes narrow, and he fires back, "I'm not here to tear anyone down. I'm here to build something new, for me and my family." Sharon shakes her head, her expression a mix of pity and disdain. "Build something new? You've built a brand on betrayal, Harry. That's what this is." The audience erupts again, some shouting support for Harry, others egging Sharon on. The cameras zoom in, capturing every micro-expression, every bead of sweat. Whoopi calls for a commercial break, but the crowd's too fired up, chanting and clapping as the segment teeters on the edge of chaos. Sharon leans back, arms crossed, a satisfied smirk on her face, while Harry sits rigid, clearly rattled but holding his ground. The stage is set for an unforgettable clash, and the world is watching. As the show returns from the break, the atmosphere in the View's studio is palpable, a pressure cooker ready to explode. The audience is restless, their earlier cheers now mixed with murmurs of anticipation, as if they know the real fireworks are yet to come. Whoopi tries to regain control, her voice firm but laced with a hint of exasperation. "All right, folks, let's keep this civil." "Harry, Sharon's raised some strong points, so let's give you a chance to respond." Harry nods, his expression composed but his eyes burning with intensity. "Thank you, Whoopi. Look, I respect Sharon's opinion, but I think it's easy to judge from the outside. My family and I made choices to protect ourselves, to find a life that works for us. That doesn't mean I don't love my family or respect their work." Sharon snorts, barely containing her skepticism, and the audience reacts with a mix of gasps and giggles. "Protect yourselves? From what, Harry? A life of privilege? You've got security, wealth, and a platform most people dream of, and yet you're out here acting like you are escaping a war zone." The crowd roars, some clapping for Sharon's audacity, others hissing at her relentlessness. Harry's composure slips slightly, his voice tightening. "Sharon, it's not about the money or the privilege. It's about the pressure, the scrutiny, the lack of control over your own life. You, of all people, should understand what it's like to be in the public eye." Sharon's eyes flash, and she leans forward, pointing a manicured finger at him. "Don't you dare compare our lives, Harry. I've scrapped my way through this industry, dealt with backlash, cancellations, and real struggles. You walked away from a throne to play the Hollywood game. That's not struggle, that's choice." The audience is on its feet now, some shouting "Go, Sharon!" while others chant Harry's name, creating a cacophony of support and dissent. Joy Behar tries to pivot, asking Harry about his upcoming projects, but Sharon's not done. "Let's talk about your book, Harry. You spilled secrets, private moments, things that should have stayed behind closed doors. Do you think that's honorable? Do you think your mom would have been proud of that?" The mention of Princess Diana sends a hush through the crowd, and Harry's face pales. "Leave my mother out of this," he says quietly, his voice laced with warning. Sharon doesn't flinch. "Oh, I'll bring her up, because you've used her memory to justify your actions." Diana fought for her voice, yes, but she didn't dare down her family to do it. The audience gasps, the air thick with shock, as Harry's hands clench on the table. "You don't get to speak for my mother," he snaps, his voice rising for the first time. "You don't know what she went through, what I've gone through." Sharon smirks, unfazed. "I know enough, Harry. I know you've turned your pain into a paycheck, and that's a choice not everyone respects." The crowd's reaction is deafening, a mix of cheers and boos, as Sarah Haynes jumps in, trying to diffuse the tension. "Okay, let's talk about healing, Harry. How do you move forward from here?" But Sharon cuts her off again. "Healing? He's not healing, Sarah. He's profiting. Every interview, every book, every Netflix special, it's all about cashing in on the royal name while trashing it at the same time." Harry shakes his head, his frustration boiling over. "You're wrong, Sharon. This isn't about money, it's about freedom." Sharon laughs, a sharp, incredulous sound. "Freedom? You're freer than most people on this planet, Harry. Don't hide behind that excuse." The audience is a sea of raised hands, waving signs, and shouting voices, as the producers signal for another break, desperate to rein in the chaos. Harry's staring at Sharon, his eyes a mix of anger and disbelief, while she sits back, cool as ice, knowing she's landed her punches. The View has never seen a showdown like this, and social media is already ablaze with clips, hashtags, and heated debates about who's in the right. Back from the commercial, the studio feels like a battlefield, the air thick with unresolved tension. The audience is still buzzing, their phones out, recording every moment despite the usher's attempts to stop them. Whoopi, visibly frustrated, tries to reset the tone. "All right, we're going to keep this respectful, people. Harry, Sharon's been tough on you. Want to share how you're feeling?" Harry takes a deep breath, his voice steady but laced with emotion. "I came here to talk about my work, my family, my truth. I didn't expect to be attacked, but I'm used to it by now." "Sharon, I hear you, but I think you are missing the point. This isn't about betrayal, it's about survival." Sharon rolls her eyes, her arms crossed tightly. "Survival? Oh, come off it, Harry. You're not dodging bullets in a war zone, you're dodging paparazzi in Montecito. There's a difference." The audience laughs, some clapping, but others shout in Harry's defense. creating a chaotic symphony of noise. Sunny Hostin tries to pivot, asking Harry about his mental health advocacy, but Sharon's not letting go. Mental health advocacy is great, Harry, but don't you think it rings hollow when you're airing your family's private struggles for profit? You're not a therapist, you're a prince. Act like one. Harry's eyes flash with anger, and he leans forward, his voice firm. Sharon, I'm not a prince anymore, not in the way you think. I gave that up to live authentically, to protect my wife and kids. You can judge me all you want, but you don't know the half of it. Sharon smirks, undeterred. Authentically? You're living a scripted life, Harry. Every move you make is calculated. Interviews, books, documentaries. You're not free, you're a brand now. The crowd erupts again, some chanting Sharon, Sharon, while others boo her relentless attack. Joy Behar, sensing the segment spiraling, tries to inject humor. Well, Sharon, you're not exactly camera shy yourself, and maybe you and Harry have more in common than you think. The audience laughs, but Sharon's not amused. Joy, I own my choices. I don't pretend to be a victim while cashing checks for spilling family secrets. Harry shakes his head, his voice rising. You keep talking about money, Sharon, but this isn't about that. It's about telling my story, my way. You've had your platform for years, so why can't I have mine? Sharon's eyes narrow, and she fires back, because your platform's built on tearing down your own blood, Harry. That's the difference. The audience is a roaring mess now, some standing, others waving signs that read Team Harry or Go Sharon. Whoopi slams her hand on the table, her voice booming. Enough. We're not here to tear each other apart. Let's talk about something positive. Harry, tell us about your charity. But Sharon's not done, her voice cutting through like a blade. Charity? That's just a shiny distraction from the mess you've made, Harry. You can't buy respect with a few good deeds. Harry's face hardens, and he stands, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. I don't need to sit here and be insulted, he says, his voice shaking with anger. The audience gasps as he walks off the set, the cameras following his every step. Sharon leans back, a triumphant grin on her face, while the other hosts scramble to fill the silence. Well, that escalated quickly, Sorry mutters, trying to lighten the mood, but the crowd's too stunned, their cheers and boos echoing through the studio. Social media explodes with hashtags like #Sharon vs Harry and #TheViewClash, as clips of the confrontation go viral, sparking debates across the globe. Sharon's unapologetic, Harry's shaken, and The View has just delivered one of its most unforgettable moments. Approximately 10,000 characters. 4. The final segment of The View begins with the studio still reeling from Harry's dramatic exit. The audience is a mix of shocked silence and restless chatter, their phones buzzing with notifications as the confrontation trends worldwide. Whoopi, visibly exasperated, addresses the crowd. All right, folks, that was a broken bar intense. Let's talk about what just happened. Sharon Osbourne sits back, her expression unrepentant, as if she's just won a boxing match. I said what needed saying, she declares, her voice dripping with confidence. Harry's been dodging accountability for too long, and someone had to call him out. The audience splits, half cheering her boldness, half booing her aggression. Joy Behar tries to steer the conversation, asking, Sharon, do you think you went too far? Harry looked genuinely hurt. Sharon shrugs, her eyes gleaming. Hurt? He's a grown man, Joy. If he can't handle a bit of tough love, maybe he shouldn't be airing his family's laundry on global TV. The crowd roars, some clapping, others shouting in protest. Sunny Hostin jumps in, her tone measured but firm. Sharon, I get that you're passionate, but don't you think Harry's trying to carve out his own path? Not everyone can stay in the royal bubble. Sharon laughs, shaking her head. Carve his own path? He's riding his royal title all the way to the bank. Sunny, don't.